Hi everybody, how y'all doing? Welcome back to my channel. I am glad to hear that AMD has announced that they do have their 5000G APUs out. Now the thing is that their APU is not available for your DIY, which is your do-it-yourself PC builders like me as well as everybody else. But you can go ahead and get these APUs in pre-builts that is going out. Now with the pre-builts that has these 5000G APUs in, I'll be putting that in the link in the description below, so y'all can go ahead and get one, and y'all could go ahead and buy one. Get one, buy one, and and enjoy it. On the other hand, why these APUs are coming out, this is one reason why I love them, because we cannot get our hand on a well discrete GPU card, because the GPU market is somewhat of a ghost town right now. So, but with all the hype and the anticipation that was built around the GPU lines that came out somewhat this year, somewhat last year, nobody could not get their hands on one and put them into their pre-builts that's already they did at home. Some people got pre-builts running the 1030 or the 1050, but other than that, when the GPU market straighten out, y'all could go ahead on and team up your GPU card with these 5000G series, and y'all could be good and happy. Let's go ahead and get into the topic right now, because I'm very excited and I can't wait to go ahead on and do a system build list so I can have all the new consumers go out and buy these GPUs soon when they come on the market, and y'all can enjoy what y'all put together, and y'all can just say, hey, I love my system, I love what it do, and it's rocking. Alrighty, let's go on with the story here. The story is from VideoCardz.com. Once again, I say AMD launches Ryzen 5000 Ryzen desktop CPUs with integrated graphic. Yes, they're finally here. Yes, the 5000G series are here, and we are happy. Now, once I had mentioned before that AMD would not be launching the Ryzen 5000G series for the do-it-yourself market anytime soon, but when they do, I can't wait to go ahead and get that build list out. And as the news consumers are getting into being creators and etc. and doing the gaming thing with it, this will be a great process for you. Now to go ahead on and team this with the motherboard of choice, it's best to do it with the B550 series or the X570, so y'all keep that in mind to use those motherboards. The company announced that initially only pre-built systems will be equipped with the Ryzen 5000G series. Yes, just keep in mind, once I go ahead on and find out which pre-builts have these Ryzen 5000Gs in them, I will go ahead and be putting that in the link in the description below, so you can go ahead and purchase these pre-builts, and y'all could be happy. Now let's go ahead on and get right into it. AMD Ryzen 5000G series desktop processor. You got the Ryzen 7 5700G, 8 core, 16 threads, 3.8 gigahertz boost, up to a 4.6 gigahertz boost with a 3 gigahertz base, with the 16 megabyte L3 cache with a 4 megabyte L2 cache, 8 CUs at 2.0 gigahertz. Now, one thing I love about this, as you see in the Ryzen 5 5600G and the Ryzen 3 5300G, that the thermal design power is not that beefy. You don't have to worry about pushing extreme power, because the low end of it is at 45 thermal design power when there's nothing cranking up, but when it's at its crank low, it goes up to 65 watt thermal design power. So with that mentioned, you can go ahead and put it with an air cooler of 120 watt handage of thermal design power, or you can go ahead and crank your AIOs 240 or 240 or 280 radiators. Gotta go ahead and keep it cool. With the Ryzen 5, it's a 6 core 12 threads with the base of 3.9 gigahertz, with the boost of 4.4 gigahertz, up to 16 megabytes of L3 cache with a 3 megabyte L2, with its 7 CUs at 1.9 gigahertz. And once again, this is what I like right there, the 45 to 65 watt thermal design power. Now coming along with the Ryzen 5300G, 4 cores, 8 thread. Now this still be a good powerhouse. I'll say, oh, it's just only 4 cores, but you can do a whole lot with 4 cores, 8 threads. I should know I'm on a 4 core, 4 thread for my gaming rig, and they push my games out perfectly. And this might, when I get my hands on, when they bring out the ones you can go ahead and build it yourself, I might just put my do my computer gaming rig on this Ryzen 5300G, 4 cores, 8 threads with the 4.0 gigahertz base with a 4.2 gigahertz boost. Now you notice I don't really need that much extra thump to go ahead on and do what I need to do and get everything done. But just like I said, with that said, I might be redoing my gaming rig sometime soon when these APUs come out. And then of course, I'm gonna go ahead and thump the big the B550 series, so you know how that's pushing. But other than that, this is good to go. I love it. It's not pushing out much power, and you can't go wrong with it. Now, with the Ryzen 7, that's a beef chunk right there. The best in the class performance. Content creation of 38% faster, productivity 35% faster, with the compute performance at 80% faster, with a 2.17x faster gaming and built-in Radeon graphics. So just keep in mind that all the APUs that Ryzen coming out with the 4000 series and the 5000 series, they are on the Radeon integrated graphics. And here is the great graphics at high-end games. Now this shows the meter of the games in frame per second. Now everybody know Counter-Strike GO, CSGO. I mean, if you had the 1660 Super, you could go ahead and get as much of it as 600 frames per second with that card. But here with the APU, they say you can go ahead and you can clock as 535 frames per second. But these just AMD numbers. We don't really too much go by AMD numbers. When you build your system yourself and you run the games that you know you like to play, such as Fortnite, Total War 3, Kingdom, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which gives you 146 frames per second on the Ryzen 7 5700G processor. But just like I said, we really don't too much go by their numbers until you actually build the system yourself and you go ahead and run your own frame per second test rates on them. But just go ahead and keep in mind the APU are in now, and I'm glad that AMD decided to go ahead and crank out more APUs, because with the saggy GPU market, they had no choice, and this is the best option right now to go APUs. This is why Intel jumped their APU lines out with the 11th gen and the 10th gen. And if you're still rocking the 1151 8th and 9th gen, you are good to go with that as well too. Moving right along with the AMD Ryzen 7 5700G. Basically with the Ryzen 5 5600G and the Ryzen 3 5300G. That just basically for your basic mid-range PC users. The Ryzen 7 5700G is the 8-core 16-thread. That's the dope monster right there. It's just like saying you on Zen 2, the 3000 series, if you're on that Ryzen 7 3700X CPU, which is an 8-core 16 threads. So pretty much in comparison right there. Once again, these are games, League of Legends, Fortnite with the frame per seconds. But other than that, I'm glad that the APUs are coming out, because if you know how to build your system right and you know what you're getting from it, you ain't got no problem. You ain't got no issues with it, and you ain't got to worry about it. Just got to know what you're doing and what are you planning on doing with it. And that's the main thing I always keep saying in my system builds. Make sure that when you build your system, whether using Intel or AMD, make sure that you know that CPU can run your software and business wise. Yes, also keep in mind, everybody, there's about 60 million people living in the U.S. today, and about that 60 million people, not by half, 1/3 of that fraction plays games, do creators, creation, performance, etc., etc. Here, if you're using a Ryzen 7 5700G, that's their big monster. So this is basically one they're actually advertising here. You got your handbrakes, which is at 4K to 1080p, 60 frames per second, Adobe Photoshop, etc. Here's the charts of all the numbers they use it, and content creation is averaging 38%. Productivity is up to 35% on average, and performance is up to 80%. Perform using Cinebench R20, Cinebench R20, R1T. Then you got your 3D Mark time spy, and etc. So when you go ahead and do your benchmarking and your CPU scores and etc., this is the performance chart that they put up for the Ryzen 7 5700G processor. But just keep in mind, to all the creators that like benchmarking and everything, just keep in mind when those numbers come out, then we will see if this chart is telling the truth or not. Alrighty, once again, you got your Ryzen 5600G and the 5300G performing leadership across the stack. Content creation is 1.46x, productivity at 1.34x, and gaming is at 2.69x. And on the 5300G side, it's at 1.31x. Productivity at 1.34x, and gaming is at 2.41x. So it's about the same workload as the 5700G. So that's one reason why AMD kept that in mind, because they want all three of their processors to be equivalent from each other. But you know, one series is a little better in performance than the other series, but they about basically neck and neck. So just go ahead on and keep that in mind. Now, the product family is the AMD Ryzen processor. OPN tray is 100 with 000000263 OEM only. Product line is the AMD Ryzen 7 500G series desktop processor with radar graphics. The launch date was in April 13, 2021. There are a few pre-builts by manufacturers that's out with these CPUs, these APUs, excuse me, and I will go ahead and be putting down the link in the description below on the ones I think that is worthy of selling. Alrighty. Now keep that in mind. Just like I said, it's supposed to be faster than the i7 10700, but just keep in mind, Intel, AMD, will make great product. On the Intel side, they just gotta go ahead and do what product line pricing, because their pricing is a little bit iffy, but with AMD, everything is spot on perfect, so you cannot go wrong with that. I'm gonna go ahead and be putting all the link in the description below, so if you want to go ahead and buy a pre-built with the Ryzen 5000G, you will know where to get it from and what manufacturers to go ahead and buy from. Alrighty, thank y'all for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button on the way out. I got more great content coming your way. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Mwah.